Imagine realizing that influence isn't a hand pushing a lever, but a whisper aligning itself with the hidden currents already moving inside someone. It doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need volume or dominance. It works more like architecture than action, shaping the space a person stands in rather than forcing where they must go. The most enduring influence rarely feels like persuasion at all. It feels like recognition, like something internally rearranging because it has finally been named correctly. Language, in this sense, is not decoration, it is calibration. A single sentence can either flatten a person or refine them, not because the words are magical, but because they either distort or clarify how someone is already experiencing themselves. When language lands accurately, it creates a strange sense of relief, as if tension loosens without explanation. The mind doesn't resist what feels true in a precise way, it leans toward it. Timing is where this becomes almost invisible. The same idea spoken too early can feel intrusive, too late, irrelevant, but placed at the exact moment when a person is already halfway toward understanding it themselves, it doesn't feel like instruction. It feels like completion. That is where influence stops being external and starts feeling self-generated. And then there is emotional framing, the way a sentence is held rather than what it literally says. Two people can say identical words, yet one carries gravity and the other evaporates. What changes is not vocabulary, but presence behind the language, whether it comes from observation or agenda, from attention or intention, because people are not only listening to meaning, they are listening for safety inside meaning. They ask without words, am I being reduced here or recognized? Am I being guided or shaped? Am I an object in this interaction or a subject within it? When language respects that threshold, it gains entry, not because it forces its way in, but because the internal resistance doesn't activate. There is no need for defense when nothing is being taken. This is why the most compelling communication often feels almost invisible. It doesn't overwhelm the mind. It organizes it. It takes what was scattered, half thoughts, unspoken feelings, unnamed impressions, and gives them structure without stealing ownership of them. And yet the paradox remains. The moment influence becomes an intention rather than a byproduct of understanding, it begins to lose its depth. People sense when language is trying to produce an effect. It becomes slightly too clean, slightly too positioned. Real resonance has irregular edges. It carries the texture of attention, not strategy. So what appears as power from the outside is often something much quieter on the inside. The discipline of noticing accurately and the restraint of not overshaping what you notice. Because in the end, the most subtle form of influence is not about changing what someone thinks. It's about creating the conditions where their own thoughts finally feel coherent enough to stand up. When a man feels truly understood, something inside him unclenches, not because he's been convinced, but because he's been seen without distortion. Most people listen to reply, to fix, to redirect, but rare connection happens when someone listens like they're reading the map of another person's inner world without trying to redraw it. In that space, words stop being tools of persuasion and become mirrors, reflecting back a version of him that feels accurate, even grounding. Respect, too, is not a performance. It's not loud praise or exaggerated admiration. It's precision. It's the difference between saying, "You're strong," and saying, "I noticed how you stayed calm when everything around you escalated." One is decoration, the other is recognition. And recognition lands differently. It settles into identity. A man doesn't just hear it, he integrates it. Value, in its most potent form, is never announced. It is felt. It shows up when someone communicates without diminishing, without competing, without trying to outshine. It's in the absence of unnecessary correction. It's in the way words leave room rather than close it. When someone feels they are not being subtly reduced in conversation, they begin to open in ways they don't even fully notice. And then there is timing, the invisible force that turns ordinary words into emotional architecture. The same sentence, spoken too early or too late, can lose its entire weight, but placed at the right moment, it becomes unforgettable. Timing is what transforms communication from noise into resonance. This is why words can feel like gravity. Not because they are magical, but because they align with something already alive inside the other person, a thought they never voiced, a feeling they never organized, a truth they half sensed but never had language for. When language meets that inner pre-existing shape, it doesn't persuade, it clicks. And once that click happens, something subtle shifts. Not dependency, not control, but attention. The mind starts returning to the source of that feeling because clarity is naturally magnetic. People move toward where they feel emotionally interpreted rather than emotionally chased. But there's a deeper layer most overlook. This kind of influence only works when it is grounded in sincerity. Manufactured understanding collapses quickly. The nervous system can tell when language is being used as a strategy rather than an expression. Authentic recognition carries a texture that imitation cannot replicate. So the real power is not in crafting perfect sentences. It is in developing the capacity to perceive another person so clearly that your words become a natural extension of that perception. When that happens, communication stops being an act and becomes a reflection. And reflection is always harder to ignore than persuasion. In the end, it isn't about making someone feel something artificial. It's about giving shape to what was already there, unspoken and unorganized, waiting for language to arrive and give it form. In this video, I want to walk you through exactly what to say, when to say it, and why it works the way it does, so you can build a bond deeper than anything he's experienced before. Welcome back to the channel, where we spend our time exploring the psychology behind attraction, love, and real connection. Today, we're going to uncover the specific words and phrases that make a man feel genuinely seen, respected, and drawn to you in a way he can't quite explain. Here's something worth sitting with for a moment. The two most valuable things we have in this life are time and words. Once either one slips away, there's no getting it back. Words hold a strange kind of magic. They can heal wounds that have lasted years, or they can leave scars that never fully disappear. A single sentence has the power to build an entire world of love, or tear one down in seconds. Haven't you noticed how one comment can brighten someone's whole day, while another lingers in their mind for years afterward? Words don't cost a thing, yet they're some of the most valuable things we exchange. Small, quiet, and still strong enough to reshape a life. Before we go further, if you're finding value here, go ahead and like this video, subscribe, and stay with me, because by the end of this, I'm going to hand you a phrase so powerful that almost no man can build a wall against it. Think of it this way. Picture yourself standing in front of a vending machine. You put your coins in, hit the button, and nothing happens. So what's the natural reaction? You press it again, maybe give it a shake, tap the glass a little. That's exactly the pattern so many people fall into in relationships, repeating the same words, the same approach, hoping for a different outcome, but nothing ever shifts. Men don't operate the way we sometimes assume. If you don't understand what actually moves them on the inside, you'll keep hitting the same wrong buttons and wonder why nothing changes. But today, I want to hand you the key that finally unlocks that door. A lot of people assume men are uncomplicated. Feed them a few compliments, tell them they're doing great, and they're satisfied. That's only scratching the surface. Men feel things just as intensely as anyone else, even when it doesn't show on the outside. From a young age, they're taught to stay strong, to never let their emotions show, to handle their struggles quietly and alone. Because of that, so many men are walking around carrying weight nobody else can see. They may never bring it up on their own, but underneath it all, they're longing for someone who truly understands them. And here's the part that surprises most people. Women often believe they need to be flawless, beautiful, accomplished, perfect in every way, just to hold a man's attention. That's simply not true. What actually keeps a man close is the feeling of being seen, appreciated, and respected. Think about a dog that's been mistreated in the past. It doesn't trust easily anymore. You could offer it food and it might still flinch away from you. It takes patience, gentleness, and consistent proof that you won't hurt it before it finally lets its guard down. Men aren't so different. They build emotional armor over time, and that armor doesn't just disappear because you ask nicely. But the right words spoken at the right moment can crack through that armor faster than almost anything else. To be clear, this isn't about manipulating anyone or tricking a man into feeling something he doesn't. It's about understanding how people actually work on the inside and learning to communicate in a way that genuinely reaches them. Most conversations happen on the surface, without ever touching someone's heart. But when your words do reach that deeper place, everything shifts. Words can either wound or heal, and the strange thing is, they cost nothing, yet their effects can last an entire lifetime. One careless sentence has the power to end a relationship. One sincere sentence has the power to make someone feel cherished for years to come. Stop and think about it. Why do certain speeches move an entire room to tears while others barely hold anyone's attention? Why do some couples stay deeply in love decades later, while others slowly drift apart even while saying "I love you" every single day? It's never really about how much you say, it's about what you say and the way you say it. Picture walking through a dense, dark forest holding just one match. Light it carelessly, and you could burn the whole forest down. Use it wisely, and it becomes the very thing that guides you safely through and keeps you warm. That's exactly what words can do. A careless insult, a sharp, sarcastic comment, or a dismissive remark can burn down trust and connection in an instant. But a thoughtful, sincere word can bring warmth, comfort, and closeness between two people. So ask yourself honestly, are the words you use building something or slowly tearing it apart? Are you lifting the people around you up or wearing them down without even realizing it? Most people never stop to consider the damage their words leave behind. Words carry energy. They linger long after they're spoken, and they shape the people who hear them. And here's something most women never really stop to consider. Men, no matter how tough or unshakable they appear on the surface, are deeply affected by the words spoken to them. Society raises them to act tough, to brush off pain, to pretend words don't leave a mark. But the truth is, men remember. They remember the harsh comments, the cruel remarks, the moments they felt unseen or unappreciated. And on the flip side, the right words, spoken with real sincerity, can make a man feel unstoppable. They can reignite something in him and strengthen his heart in ways you might not expect. History itself proves how powerful words can be. Entire wars, revolutions, love stories, and movements have been sparked by nothing more than speech. So it's worth asking yourself, how are you using yours? Because in just a moment, I'm going to share the exact phrase that has the power to change everything for you. But first, you need to understand what men are truly hungry for. And trust me, it's not what most people assume. Even the strongest men often suffer quietly. Society paints them as untouchable warriors who supposedly don't need love, support, or acknowledgement. But the reality is that every man deep down is craving something, even if he'd never admit it out loud. From childhood, they're told to be strong, to never cry, to never ask for help. So they end up carrying their burdens completely alone, laughing off their pain, burying their struggles, and pushing forward like soldiers marching through a battlefield no one else can see. Even the toughest soldier eventually grows weary of carrying the world alone. Picture a warrior standing in heavy armor, shoulders weighed down by battles nobody else witnessed. He keeps moving forward without complaint, but on the inside, he's starving, not for money, attention, or power, but simply to be truly seen and valued. Men aren't chasing perfection in the people around them. What they're really searching for is peace. Someone who lifts the weight off their shoulders instead of adding more to it. And one of the most powerful ways to offer that is through your words. Have you ever noticed how men spend their whole lives chasing validation from their bosses, their fathers, their friends, even strangers online? They're rarely told outright that they're enough, and when that affirmation never comes, they shut down emotionally, stop opening up, and slowly pull away. But here's the encouraging part. You have the power to change that. Your words can become the very crack in his armor that lets the light back in. One sincere sentence has the power to undo years of emotional isolation. It can make a man feel safe, valued, and seen as more than just what he provides or accomplishes. So what exactly do you say? What phrase is capable of reaching the deepest part of a man's heart and making him feel truly at home? Stick with me because I'm about to share it. But before that, let's talk about something men crave even more than love itself: being genuinely heard. Flattery is cheap and compliments are everywhere. Men hear them, smile politely, nod, and forget them within seconds. But words that are genuine, words that speak directly to the soul, those are rare and precious. Picture being stranded in the middle of a desert, dying of thirst, and someone hands you a soda. Sure, it's cold and fizzy, maybe even enjoyable for a moment, but it won't actually save you. That's exactly what flattery is like. It feels pleasant in the moment, but it doesn't nourish anything underneath the surface. Men are thirsty for something real because so often they move through life feeling unseen. They wake up, push through their responsibilities, carry stress all day long, and by the end of it, nobody truly acknowledges what they've been carrying. A generic "good job" or "you're amazing" just doesn't cut it. But a sincere word, looking him in the eyes, acknowledging his effort, his heart, and everything he's silently struggling with, that's what reaches his soul. That's what makes him feel truly valued, alive, understood, and finally at home. So pay close attention here, because sincere words carry more power than you might imagine. They can unlock hearts, deepen bonds, and make even the toughest men feel completely seen and cherished. When a man hears something like, "I see you, I see how hard you're trying, I respect what you do," everything shifts inside him. That's not just a compliment, it's acknowledgement, it's validation. It's telling him without question that he isn't invisible, that his work, his struggle, and his effort actually matter. Men crave respect and appreciation even more deeply than they crave love. This isn't just an opinion, it's something backed by real experience. A woman could say, "I love you" 100 times a day, but if she's constantly criticizing him, dismissing him, or making him feel small, he'll still feel empty inside. But when she says, "I respect what you do, I see how hard you work, I appreciate you," it fuels him, it strengthens him, it makes him want to move mountains for her. Respect isn't just admiration, it's honor. And when a man feels honored, he feels unstoppable. So forget the flattery, forget the generic praise, use words that actually touch the soul. When a man hears the simple words, "I see you," it's like finally being able to exhale after holding his breath for far too long. It feels like discovering an oasis in the middle of a desert. Now you might be wondering, when exactly do I say this? How do I say it in a way that actually lands? Timing matters just as much as the words themselves. In a moment, I'll walk you through exactly how to deliver these words so they break through his walls and reach straight into his heart. But first, let's talk about the true key to a man's heart: respect. Respect is one of the deepest expressions of love that exists. If love is the fire that keeps a relationship warm, respect is the oxygen that keeps that fire alive. Without it, the flame eventually dies out, no matter how strong the love once was. A man could hear "I love you" 1,000 times, but if he doesn't feel respected underneath it, those words start to lose their meaning. Love without respect is like being fed a meal, but never being allowed to sit at the table. It leaves behind a different kind of hunger entirely. Picture a knight returning home from battle, bruised, exhausted, but victorious. What matters most to him in that moment isn't the cheering crowd or the treasure he's earned. What matters is the queen looking him directly in the eyes and saying, "I see you, I honor you, I respect you." A man would honestly rather be alone than stay with someone who doesn't respect him. And sadly, most women don't even realize when they're disrespecting the man they love. Men feel it even when they never say a word about it. They feel it when they're dismissed, belittled, or constantly second-guessed. They feel it when their best efforts go unnoticed. And when respect disappears from a relationship, a man either shuts down completely or eventually walks away. Either way, the connection quietly fades. But when a man feels respected, everything shifts. Respect tells him, "I honor everything you're doing. I see your struggles. You don't have to be perfect to be worthy of love." When he feels that, he begins to thrive. He feels safe enough to be himself, safe enough to open up, safe enough to grow and give his very best. Respect doesn't just make a man feel loved, it unlocks his full potential. Every great leader, every powerful man throughout history had someone standing behind him who truly believed in him. Someone who said, "I see what you're capable of, and I respect you for it." That kind of belief becomes fuel. It becomes real power. So take a moment to reflect honestly. Do you respect the man in your life? Not only when he's winning, but also when he's struggling. Not only when he's strong, but also when he's vulnerable. Men crave respect just as deeply as women crave love. Once you truly understand that, making him feel seen, valued, and deeply connected becomes so much simpler. Now let's talk about vulnerability. Showing your own weaknesses isn't a flaw. It's actually a form of strength. Vulnerability takes real courage. It's the bravery to stand there with your heart completely open, no armor, no walls, and say, "This is me, the real me." That takes far more strength than pretending to be perfect ever could. Think about it this way. You've probably carried a heavy suit of emotional armor for years because life taught you that being fully seen can be dangerous. Maybe you've been judged before, ignored, or laughed at, so over time you built walls to protect yourself. Now imagine meeting someone else who's just as guarded, both of you hiding behind your own armor. Nothing really happens between you. No trust forms, no real connection takes root. But the moment one person finally takes their armor off, everything begins to shift. It's like laying down a weapon in the middle of a battlefield. It signals peace, trust, and safety. It says, "I trust you enough to show you who I really am. Do you trust me enough to do the same?" Men need that kind of invitation far more than most people realize. Society constantly tells them to stay strong, unshakable, always in control, that talking about their struggles is a sign of weakness. So they end up locking everything inside. So many men walk around like fortresses, strong and steady on the outside, while quietly fighting battles nobody else ever sees. But when a man witnesses your vulnerability, it gives him permission to lower his own guard too. It tells him, "You don't have to be perfect around me. You're allowed to breathe. You're allowed to just be real." And that kind of permission is priceless. There's one particular phrase that has the power to cut straight through even the strongest emotional walls. "I believe in you, and I'm here, no matter what." Not just when he succeeds, not just when he stumbles, always. Those words become a genuine lifeline for men who feel like they're drowning in expectations, self-doubt, or quiet struggles no one else can see. They make him feel safe, finally seen for who he really is. So ask yourself, are you willing to be the first one to remove your own armor? That's truly where real connection begins. And in just a moment, I'll show you exactly how to use this to build a bond so strong that he'll never forget the way you made him feel. Now let's talk about timing, because words are powerful, but timing is what makes them truly transformative. The right words spoken at the wrong moment can fall completely flat, or even push him further away. Think of it like trying to plant a seed on solid concrete. It simply won't grow, but plant that same seed in fertile soil at the right time, and it blossoms beautifully. That's exactly how words work. Try comforting someone while they're still furious, and it won't land the way you want. Try encouraging someone in the middle of deep self-doubt, and they might not even hear you. Most people focus entirely on what to say and completely overlook when to say it. But when you learn to read his energy, notice his unspoken struggles, your words become a place of safety for him, not noise, not added pressure. When you speak at exactly the right moment, walls come down, trust deepens, and real connection happens naturally. So here's the truth I want to leave you with today. Words carry the power to build something beautiful or to quietly destroy it. Time and words, once they're gone, can never be taken back. Men aren't the simple creatures we sometimes assume. They feel things deeply, even when it doesn't show on the surface. They carry silent battles and heavy burdens, all while craving respect, recognition, and someone who genuinely sees them for who they are. Once you understand that, once you learn to speak the right words at the right time to show respect, appreciation, and real vulnerability, you don't just create connection. You build a bond so deep and unshakable that it changes everything between you. Remember this: flattery never lasts, and compliments eventually fade. But truly seeing him, honoring him, and believing in him leaves a mark that stays with him long after the words are spoken. So speak with purpose, speak with real intention. Choose your words carefully because they have the power to melt down walls, ignite hearts, and build a love that feels safe, strong, and lasting. So go out there, see him fully, respect him deeply, believe in him completely, and watch him lean in, open up, and cherish you in a way he never has before.